If you've got questions, let's take them. If you've got ideas or concepts, we want to help everybody be on the same page right now. So look what I got. I got this thing, and I don't need this. What happens if I press this button? Great. I'm going to throw this around. If you've got a question or a comment or something, let me know. The app situation is off right now. We want this to be a sort of a round table, common room discussion. And if you're an introvert and that scares you, then shake off that old thinking. Who's got a comment? Who's got a question? Who's got a something? Who's got a concern? Who's got an idea? Who's got an idea? You've got an idea? I'm going to throw it, but let's do it one step at a time. You're my checkpoint. All right, say your name if you don't mind,
Hi.
and then we're all going to say hi, and then we're going to say your name.
Hi, I'm Deborah.
Hi,
Deborah.
Thank you. Hi, all. I have this idea because of the plastic solution to build suicide drones to get the plastic and to dump it.
Sorry, when
in
you said the plastic
volcano.
situation, you mean like plastic in water, for example?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And to dump it in the volcano because now the plastic, if you want to recycle it, thank you, it costs a lot of money, it has a lot of pollution, and with the heat in the volcano and the pressure in the volcano, it just like melts.
All right, a couple things I want to address in that idea, which is a great idea. Thank you very much for that, Deborah. First of all, I do feel like the plastic in the water, in the oceans, and all the big bodies of water is indeed a huge problem without an owner, right? That is a great problem without an owner. I do think that suicide drones sounds like it's something else, and we should think about the name.
Yeah, yeah, because we can print them and then they take the garbage.
Suicide drone sounds like what the robots bring in when there's a couple too many humans walking around. But that's great. That's not important. I will also note that every plan that involves a volcano is only making his James Bond villain. But so the idea just is that we'll get an army of drones, plastic retrieval drones, or PRDs. The PRDs are going to fly around, they're going to pull the plastic out of the bodies of water, and they're going to take it to the nearest active volcano
where it will burn and go into the air and cause pollution, surely.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't cause pollution because the heat, the temperature is that high that it. I don't know. It's
the pollution. There's no. It's like
There
the
is-
black hole
there-
of smoke.
yeah.
It's so hot. It's like a
it's-
smoke black hole.
there is no black hole anymore.
All right. So, well, no, I mean the black hole because no light escapes
Oh,
the
yeah,
black hole,
yeah.
and the volcano is so hot that no smoke escapes
yeah,
the.
yeah.
Okay.
But I think maybe we can, onderzoeken. We kunnen het onderzoeken.
I think it's let's do some research. Some onderzoeken. Although onderzoek sounds like it's like peeking under, which is again it's a little creepy. So that it sounds like we're on the right track. How do you feel about that?
Well, the concept of idea is of course great because what you're saying is we have plastic pollution. Can we let it go away in a way with no pollution as result?
Yeah.
So if you have that narrative, then we can start researching about it.
Yeah.
Yeah? So in our team, for example, we have the guys of Duin who help us with all our research. And if you say, okay, we have plastics and we want it to be gone, then they can say, okay, what's happening in the world today? They have this big technology radar. And they say, okay, this technology could work, this technology could work, this technology could work. Maybe it's not even necessary to let it go away, but to rebuild it as usable building blocks for other ecosystems. So it becomes, in my conceptual mind, it becomes a Lego tree.
Yeah.
So that you have the drones, and then we don't have to destroy them, that's also cool. We have the drones, you bring them into this process, and then you start creating building blocks that are free, because it was made of weight, that can be used to problems that make sense.
Yeah.
So if let me see if I can restate this
Yeah.
words that Simon and I can understand.
Yeah.
The PRDs, the plastic redistribution drones, will pick up the plastic and they on their own, because they're autonomous
Yeah.
drones.
Yeah.
And then they take the plastic to a center where it's melted down into like a plastic raw material,
Yeah.
and then it can be, for example, 3D printed with an autonomous 3D printer
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
building blocks, perhaps shaped like Legos, because everyone knows you can build just about anything with a Lego.
Exactly.
And then these are built, I suspect, by autonomous AI-controlled building builders, but who knows, humans might be using this, I'm not sure at this point. And they'll build structures that are needed, for example, a great southern wall on the American border.
Yeah. That was already promised, so that is, and I know who's going to pay for it.
The revenue stream.
Yeah.
I will build a great wall, and lower costs and revenue stream will pay for the wall.
Yeah. And the super cool thing what you're doing is that we now have entities that give us materials, like Gamma, like Praxis, but for them it's very important that every material we use gets become waste after we have used it, so you cannot alter it. Where if you take your design proposition, you can make it alter to the max.
Yeah.
So that we can reuse it and reuse it again. And that's exactly the kind of unimaginable narrative. Because you don't care about making money of the materials. You don't care about that they are building the emergent houses, the great... you just like the pollution to be gone.
To be gone.
And that's exactly where maybe your team would build this part, and then you have the teams that want to build the houses that are so great for everybody and can be rebuilt everywhere. But where are they going to get the material?
Yeah.
Like that. So super cool idea. Thank you very
Super
much.
cool idea,
Thank
and it
you.
turns out that's idea that's actually a building block, almost Lego style,
Yeah.
of a much larger ecosystem of solutions. Fantastic.
Okay.
Other stuff there. Oh, you wanted to clap? Let's give it up for Deirdre. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You were right, and I was wrong. You got an idea over here? Let's throw that catch box.
Much an idea, it's basically an observation. So a few people may know me, but I launched a concept, a business, for a better word. It's going to tie into your James Bond thing very shortly, I'm sure. I'm the person that created a business that rents out cats to kill mice in the Netherlands.
You're Blofeld, basically.
I'm
You're
Blofeld on
Okay,
the
okay.
So he's Blofeld's supplier.
Oh, Blofeld supplier, yes, yes.
Right, okay, so it's about the whole thing about crazy ideas from nerds. So basically, 2 dogs don't catch mice, so basically I need to borrow a cat, so people around me not wanting to lend me their cat. 22,000 people later in the Netherlands, and basically now I've got the government banging on the door, turning around and asking for the data, specifically for Amsterdam, about mouse populations. Because of course the winter comes in and the mice, people start getting into the situation whereby there's more mice in the house. So people want to get rid of the issue. Obviously this is, I mean, I'm a nerd, I have other things, but this was kind of like a crazy idea. It's, as an observation to the team and all fellow nerds here, it's kind of interesting because people have now started talking about collection for mouse bodies. You know, there's a lot of spiraling of businesses connected to the mouse killing business.
I mean, the mouse killing business, this is not a euphemism for something else, right?
No. This is actually a real, it's a real concept that was established here, literally across the road. I live across the road, literally.
Now, there's part of me that has the instinct to say, I feel like mice is not a big enough problem. It's not quite a step 0, step 1. But I might be wrong because, you know, there's populations where mice are bringing in disease. And this might be a huge, you know, eliminating vermin, eliminating disease kind
Or
of
rats,
solution.
maybe. Rats even more than
Rats,
mice.
for
maybe,
example.
yeah.
That was
But just remember, you know, in the old days, you had to pay the piper or there was trouble. But with this new system, you don't need to.
well, just around the corner from here, the plane has the rattler. It's kind of a statue on the corner, which regarding the kind of like the rat catcher in Amsterdam, was primarily based here, and yeah. But it's an interesting observation. This entire business has now started springing up. You know, people in San Francisco, New York, in Israel, they've got a bigger issue with snakes.
Well, now hang on. Let's one animal at a time.
Yeah,
But-
this is all about mice.
But I just so I'm curious because it seems like what you're describing is still a very profit-based situation, right? It's not that these.
Not really.
Well, I mean, somebody's got these cats. They're
Yeah,
renting.
the owners of the cats basically take the cat around to the house, and
Maybe
they only
you can do it with crypto kitties.
no.
And
But
keep
the cat only needs to be there 15 minutes. Doesn't have to kill a mouse. It's just to phone them. But the pricing model was put in place to stop fake adverts.
Alrighty, I'm a little okay. So we've followed this train quite a ways, and I love it because it's a fascinating situation.
Yeah.
The renting the cats, and it turns out they're not even hunters. You just want that new cat smell.
Yeah.
I mean that pheromone. You can't
Yeah, the
smell it.
pheromone,
Though I've never met a cat I couldn't smell.
What I'm interested in, though, does it work on the same basis as Uber? Is there like a star
Yeah, it's,
rating for the cats? So what happens if the cat falls below a certain star rating? Are they not used anymore?
Well, the gamification-wise is the fact that the more mice the cat kills, basically the more valuable the cat becomes. So more people want the cat. It's kind of like, it's a weird metric, completely weird metric.
It sounds dangerously like cat prostitution. I just want to say that right now.
So you were saying earlier
I
about
don't
big
like any plans to
thinking
rent
big.
out pussy in this city. All right. I mean,
Yeah, I had that one as well.
all right. So
Yeah, there's one challenge if you come with this, that if you imagine a group of people who really are passionate about making their houses mouse-free, then they could cooperate, sharing each other cats, and it would work.
Yeah.
As soon as you call it a business, there is a sales opportunity for more mice.
Indeed.
Because by creating more mice, you can create your own scarcity of cats.
Yes.
So that's exactly why taking the economical approach,
That's your second business.
of course, you never would do that, but dark minds could do it.
Yeah, we call it cat and mouse dating services.
Yeah,
It's not exactly.
we have
it's
a Tinder
not,
app.
It's
so
not.
if you want to-
It's not
yeah.
rent a cat.
what we got?
Okay, so I'm Nico.
Hi, Nico.
Nico.
So what happens when we break up a house in blocks? Can we technically eliminate the decision between should I pay rent or should I pay a mortgage of this house for the next 10, 15 years? What if it's the same? I'm basically just buying blocks of this house, and let's say and then we can avoid maybe a financial digression by the banks lending money they do not have because you're technically just buying parts of this house. And let's say you have a financial distress situation where you cannot pay rent or buy more blocks of this house, you can sell your blocks for a while. That's kind of the idea, and looking for people to help, like doing the math and this kind of stuff for this project.
If you nature that idea up, then you have birds, and birds build their houses from wood they find everywhere. And this wood is abundant and free. So if you take a parallel to what we do today, we all go out and buy stuff we do not need. And that stuff lies around forever because it's waiting for us to throw it away. What would happen if all the stuff we buy, we add a chip, and if the stuff isn't moved for a year, it automatically becomes like the wood. So for us, it would be sending a message, oh, please, people, can you come and take my trash away? I really would like it. And the other get free materials. Now, there's one new challenge, because the things we make today can only be used in one way. But if we, again, would build all the things out of Lego, then the thing that isn't used for a year is a lot of Lego building blocks coming back to the community, who then have free materials to build houses. So nobody has to buy, nobody has to, and that's just the chip and the redistribution. So that's the nice thing. If you forget all about money and you go back to the engineering, then it's just sharing and reusing resources and thinking about, okay, what makes those resources more valuable.
Okay. Well, I kind of want to.
I mean, there's just one, like, slight objection to the idea.
Nico, can you toss my man the?
Yeah.
Slight objection to, well, hi, I'm Jaco. Okay, but slight objection. I mean, if we do what you just suggested, then all musea would empty out a year from now. Because you don't move stuff in a museum.
Yeah.
So I could take the Nachtwacht away after a year.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
I really need that thing.
So the important
And,
thing is don't let Nazis put the chips in and make sound decisions of what gets a chip and what doesn't get a chip.
Who decides?
Nazis.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's already, okay. Sorted.
No, but
There is this realm of things I really like that help us to do the things during the day that really are essential to us, and we forget about automatically when we go to sleep because it's not part of our life story.
I agree.
And all those things that we forget about as soon as we go to sleep, those could be the parts with chips. And of course, we need some research to discover what that is. But if it isn't part of your narrative, we can do something with this. And somebody said, okay, how can I imagine this? Well, we already, or most people know the situation. It's the world when you are 11 years old. Then you have two entities who are called mom and dad. And they take care of all the things that are essential for you, but you really don't care about. That there is a house, that the house is warm, that you get food. Because you want to wake up and do the things which really intrinsically motivate you. So, if you let the things that intrinsically motivate you out of the equation, all the things that are just there to help you live your life, that could be part of ecosystems that would always be there to assist you. And this is where we want you to go with Nature 2.0.
all right, let me quickly, and before we pass over the catch box, well, we can but you've got something you want to say. Okay,
Yeah.
well, just wait a minute. Then let me comment. Like, I just want to unpack three things that you've said.
Okay, super.
One is, I think you said something very instructive about getting rid of economics and money solutions, which is, and to think about as an engineer, the chips in the objects to me is a great engineer's point of view, which is right now we're just not used to things being valued that way because we already have a way of valuing of them. But gosh, what if there was a different system? Chips that'll tell you if something's being used or not used. That's a great way to sort of get outside the paradigm of basic economics. Everything has a value. Then we have the question of, who's going to make the decision. But I think the thing you guys have to remember is that just because you want to put chips in things, then we have to put chips in everything, right? Obviously, the robots want to put chips in all of us because it'll help them control us. But we don't have to let them yet. So just remember that you're thinking of out of the box, crazy paradigm, overturning ideas. But you can still, put a cage around it and call it, this is where that idea is taking place. And the third thing, don't remember. But if you think of a bird idea, please don't make it involve regurgitating food. Nobody wants that. Who wants the box right now? Okay, we're gonna go one, and then we're gonna go two, and then it's gonna be 3, 4, and then back up here for 5. And I don't think I saw you, so now you're 6.
Oh,
But you're still 1.
I'm still, it's kind of like an expansion actually on that idea of what kind of system you could create around it. Because if you think about dual token economies, which are the ICOs and the STOs, so combining the utility tokens with the security tokens, which means the security tokens are for the ones that have money to actually invest in this idea. Oh, we're not supposed to do that, but we kind of still need the money to kick it off, right?
A little bit of kickoff money.
Yeah, a little bit
That's
kickoff
allowed,
money is
kickoff
sometimes
money.
quite nice. And then if you chip everything, you make people from, for example, we do this in the Netherlands, right? And we make all people in the Netherlands token holders, utility token holders in that ecosystem. So you kind of like...
Do we do that?
No, we could do that.
Oh, okay, we could do that. What the hell are we talking about right now? Okay, great.
Yes, wake up. No. So then they have an incentive to also think along of what should be chipped, and they could maybe also vote on this with utility tokens. And the ones with the security tokens, they could get their initial investments also back from this system. And then you can think about other systems maybe in the future, how you can equalize that further. But in that way, you can involve people, incentivize them to think about it and to vote on ideas of how to develop that. And you can have your building blocks, and I mean, I guess the future won't be as dystopian then.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what you just said. But if I'm the only one, that's fine. But I feel like part of the job that I have today is make sure everything is in layman's terms. And I feel like you've left this layman behind, unless you get it.
No, I don't either.
Great. What can you?
How about the nerds?
Is everybody? Who?
You like to?
Sure. He's jumped the line.
If I can just respond to that, I'm not asking a separate question.
There's an abundance of catch boxes.
I'll keep it brief. So ICOs and STOs are one way of raising money in this ecosystem, and there are new ways that are just being developed now. If anybody is familiar with token bonding curves, is kind of where they're starting, but I think they will evolve past that, and it's more of a continuous funding model. So you don't have a one-time sale, which kind of misaligns the incentives of the team and the investors and the users. And it's basically building a commons infrastructure for all of these great ideas to bootstrap their own funding, attract value to the network, and basically pay that value back out to all participants and investors, donors who become investors through the value accumulation in these commons. And I think it's basically the open commons infrastructure for bootstrapping all of these ideas, which also has a wonderful effect called curation markets, where you have this emergent property where the best ideas or the biggest problems bubble up to the top and they get the attention, because that's another thing, is there's a lot of great ideas here, but we need to direct the attention of the bright minds and also the funding that can come in and help resolve these problems. So lots of interesting things to come.
Well, I got a quick follow-up. How does the token bonding model, does that also describe effects in a dual token system? I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I can give a brief.
Yeah. The great thing what you're talking about is, okay, how do we get the wisdom of the crowd out of a system? Then we have the best ideas. Then secondly, there will be money of people who are intrinsically motivated or really want this, what you're talking about, to happen. There is money. Then secondly, you have the best building teams who are willing to build open source. And then you combine the people with the best ideas to the best builders, and they build the next step. And then you have an iterating system, which you can design like a DAO. And then you have a completely new form of organization driven by intrinsic motivation. So these are exactly the discussions we should have out in the open, maybe even inspire the other tracks, because we are building a commons together. It's just important that we take our energy and show what are the new ways so that we can build on each other.
Unleashing collective intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Love
okay, so now I forget who was two. That was my one job, and I screwed it up. Were you two? Sure, what the hell. We're going to go back. I know we got to end up back in the back. Otherwise, the folks in the back don't feel like they're included.
Yeah, so my name is Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
So
Thomas built great AI. He was also worked on one of the teams last year. So
that's true, and that's what I want to.
He's a magic worker.
Thanks. So my passion is to, or not passion, my idea is to fight deforestation, and I have this idea to, tokenize the land so that landowners can claim certain areas of forest they will protect. And then when a satellite comes over and checks using AI, if the area still remains, then the owner of the land is incentivized to, or is rewarded. And I have a problem to get this rewarded system out of the idea and to make it like self-owned or self-sustaining.
I can connect you to Studio Wolfpack. They are really passionate about bringing nature back to the cities, and they don't want to be aesthetic, they want it to be to add value. So, and they already talked to all or a lot of municipalities in the Netherlands. They have people enthusiastic. So by making a one-to-one match, we can take your idea as a starting point, their insights they already found, and from there you could build further. It would be a great approach.
Okay, thanks. Any other suggestions?
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I have a forest. Yeah. We have a forest in Brazil, in the Amazonian rainforest, 100,000 hectares, and we want to make them decentralized. And I'm also thinking about making it a DAO, maybe. So I would really love to connect with you.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Swipe right. Swipe right.
And that is the amount of impact you can make in a pitch of 20 seconds. So just to give you a feeling of the magic we could together achieve.
And then we're going to go right back. But after this, it's going back.
Okay. Yeah, I have I'm George.
Hi, George.
Okay. I wanted to say something about guideline number 1. I heard it was the question about the housing. Should I rent or buy blocks in it? So I was thinking about, I'm from the APT Rethink Retirement track. And I was thinking about, hey, this sounds something to cooperate with. We have a lot of financial experts. So if you participate in this track, feel free. I'm inviting you also to, look if there's a possible cooperation with other teams in the Rethink Retirement track or other tracks. So that was my invitation to everybody here.
Yeah. And think about the magic of this proposition, because we are in an age where with 3 or 4 big medical breakthroughs, you can get 20 years older. Now, what would happen if you are already in a pension? You get money, and now you have this discussion with your wife. Okay, we can get 20 years older and healthy, and it will be the best time of our life, but the money we only had for 5 years, we now have to spread over 25 years. So if you start building houses that do not need money to be operated, all the decisions of those people who are happy that they live, and with the new breakthroughs in medicine could live longer, then on the one hand you help the pension funds, who are one of the biggest investors of the future, and you solve one of their big problems, and you solve all the problems of the people that are happy and want to live longer. So as soon as you start working on these kind of concepts, imagine what number of crowds you can find behind you. If you need AI resources for that, you go to IBI. She already has 100,000 AI researchers and says, okay, we have a completely crazy but breakthrough idea that can help us find benevolent AI resources. So just by making a small round here in the room, you can do incredible things.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You were waiting, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, but then it's going to go in the back, and I'm not lying. It's going to go there, then there, and then it'll come back to you, but it's going to do a sweeping back thing, and you hand it to me when you're done, and then it won't get out of hand again. All right.
Good. Hi, my name is Age.
Hi, Age.
Love your rainforest idea, and I would love to help in thinking about the way of, monetizing it, or, working with the value. And it would really benefit, because it's about 20% of our total CO2 emissions globally, if we can do something to this. So that would really make a big impact. And in addition, there are a lot of people actually really trying to solve this problem, that they're, had this, and they want to give ownership's right on the forest. But they're really struggling to get this off the ground. So actually, if you can solve it, I think could be a lot of traction to get these things scaled up and that could really benefit forest maintenance, basically. Yeah. So that's if you need help, let me know. Cool.
I'm going to the back. Yeah. No one can stop me. No one can stop me. All right, who's my dude in the back? Delivered to the back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Woo!
My name is Federico.
Hi, Federico.
Hi all. And
most friendly
I will suggest you all. Maybe that's the time to create a sustainable protocol that will allow through transactions, through energy consumption, to create cumulative impact of their scope through an LCA approach. I think that will be challenging, surely, but it will be even a good way to start actually gathering data allocated to all the different services and stakeholders that we have in economy 2.0, 3.0, whatever. If somebody didn't understand me, maybe I'm an engineer, so I cannot express myself so well. So
I'm not sure.
feel free to make questioning.
What specifically are you looking for? Arthur asked, are you looking for team members?
Oh, anyone that would like to make a sustainable economy come true. And this will kind of include the concept of energy banking. So in the sense, the energy companies will be providing, let's say, credit through the consumption that actually stakeholders have. So if stakeholder has a consumption, then it means that actually produce something useful for society because you need to consume energy, and therefore actually the energy company feeds them with a certain amount of credit rather than actually the bank do.
So I'm not sure I followed the idea. But I don't have to if you guys did, and we're all cool. No, not really. Okay, great. So I hate to say it, but can you sort of say it again, but in slightly different words? It's energy based.
Yeah, but it's also scarcity based, I believe, because you're talking about an economy, and you're talking about energy that is scarce, that's going from one party to another, where we need the current identity-based system to track the transactions. And that would be, there is an energy challenge, so in a hackathon, so I think there it would be a perfect fit. I have my doubts at this moment if it's challenging enough to be part of the Nature 2.0 track.
Are there some alterations to the?
Yeah. If you want to work on it, but that would mean that you would lose the concept of the economy. That we are going to trigger you. Okay, how can you make this energy abundant so that it is available for everybody and there's no trade possible anymore? Then this is the track for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think abundance is I do not see as a reality in the sense that we can talk about abundance if the whole ecosystem, if we consider the boundary of the ecosystem, and then within the ecosystem itself, we can talk about, okay, this ecosystem is creating abundance, but we cannot take different part of the system, make subsystem, and say, okay, this subsystem are creating abundance, because they will be withdrawing resources from other subsystems.
If you say that what we are talking about is unimaginable, then you make me very happy.
I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I mean,
yeah, it's so abundant as an absolute force is resilience to unlimited.
Yeah,
so
sure, but it takes water, it takes sun, it takes all different things. And if you, for instance, you may take a smaller forest, you take the world forest and the world does not compete, but if you take another forest, maybe it does compete with the forests in the neighborhood. In the meantime, compete for resources.
It's not using the engineering debating tricks, it's challenging the engineering thought. So it's not a system that is a perfect fit. It is looking at how can I bring emergence to the system. It's not making a control system, it is how can I make anti-fragility in the system. So I thank you for your honesty that you say, okay, from my starting point of the world of today, this is really hard to grasp. And we know that, and that's why we have a lot of entities to help. But entities to help to prove that the barriers of making it impossible are mostly in our frozen mindset and not in technology.
I just feel like we got Obi-Wan Kenobi and Han Solo talking about the Force right now.
Yeah. So this is a good moment to.
I'm not sure if and that was a way of saying I'm not sure you can solve it right now.
No, not at this moment.
All right, but offline perhaps you can solve it. And spoiler alert, he's not going to change his mind. Okay. Now you guys are raising your hand, which is very kind, but there was someone to your left that was waiting in the back. There was another back row person. I think there was someone farther back actually, but I can live with this too.
Okay, René, I'm an architect from Amsterdam. Hello.
Hi, René.
Thank you. So, perhaps I'll introduce myself. I'm looking, that's my final question, for a so-called blockchain carbon credit wallet for individuals and possibly house by house, so that the house owns a wallet and is paying its energy system by itself. So what we developed is like the Earth, it's heating itself by solar energy on the day side, it's cooling itself by radiation. So going in and out is our today Earth temperature, and I'm using both to heat and cool a building. And our new point is that we store for the lifetime of the building. So the building itself is actually producing and storing its own energy. Our strategy is not energy, it's exergy. It means that if you have a natural gas heated house, it's potentially 2,500 degrees. You can make a fire with that temperature. So if you apply that for something of 20 degrees inside, you're losing 95% of the quality. We don't count with that on the moment, but if you deal with the sun, it's only about that. So if you want 1 kilowatt hour body heat, you just go to the beach, you get it for free. And if you ask for the same kilowatt hour in electricity, you're going to pay. So in fact, the sun is dealing on quality instead of quantity. So what we do is we made an energy system without energy losses and the lowest exergy losses. It's very cheap, €3 per kilowatt hour storage, compared to battery, 300, even though it costs you 20 to 30,000 euro per house. So the barrier I feel is how to pre-finance, co-finance, zero costs energy systems for houses. So because it's zero emission, I'm thinking about this carbon credit wallet. And it can be human related, but it can also be house related. And I'm looking for examples. So if it already exists, it should be fine. I don't have to attend the challenge. If it doesn't exist or partly exists, well, there is still a chance. And I'm not sure it fits in Nature 2.0. I think the exergy strategy is quite new for the most of us. So that could fit. The building concept itself is existing. I mean, the technology readiness level is 9. And I struggle actually with energy network companies and pension funds because they simply don't know how to change, or they are under mandate, or they have really, let's say, organized problems which are not so simple to change. So that's why I'm thinking about this carbon credit wallet. It should be much easier to cooperate with energy companies or pension funds. But until now, I couldn't find any solution over there. So, thanks.
Is it important for you to become a millionaire?
I am a millionaire. By accident, by winning court cases. That's very bad. But
you can now drop the mic.
Yeah. No.
So it's not about earning model. I'm not thinking in earning models because that's what I want to learn. So we don't start with earning or business models.
No, okay.
That's fine.
But there are some great concepts in there because you now translated it all to the world of today. But we can also use it for completely different narratives, and I really would like to work on that.
Yes, but okay. My dream is textile buildings filled with water. So then you, let's say, reduce the building weight with 100%. So we have now 100 kiloton per building, and that's only perhaps 1 kiloton per building. But that's a long way. That takes me 20 years. And this way already took me 20 years, so that's now ready to go. The only thing is missing is how to organize it. So I'm looking for changing organizations, not really looking for new technology again. I can do that, dreaming,
but then there are two challenges. That's,
okay,
the
that's true.
pension
That's
track
true. That's true.
And
I
the
agree.
energy track.
Yeah.
And still, we would love to cooperate because you have some building blocks that would be extremely inspiring for people who want to rebuild the energy system, like, for example, Arash is doing.
Who is doing?
Arash Azami. He
Oh, yes.
pitched. He did
Okay.
the 90
Yeah,
slides in
we
30
matched
seconds.
already.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So who's next?
Well, but
Who's next?
before we pass around, so now technically, because I've got this schedule in front of me, and of course, abundance commons. But what we're supposed to do right now is bring out the support team and talk about what it's like to be part of the Nature 2.0 team. And but there's so many people that want to talk. I don't know how to prioritize. Unfortunately, we do have a scarcity of time. I don't know how you'd like to prioritize this.
I look to the big boss upstairs.
Shall we also invite the support team up and have them perhaps participate in the answering, or is that?
Yeah, that would be if they start. If Age, if Krijn, if the drawers and the video team already start sitting here, then if they can specifically help with your questions, we can start interactively start introducing the team. Because we have a lot of people here that want to help you. And we want to give you the opportunity to know them. Because as we said in the beginning, we are the odd in Odyssey, but we are not easy. We know that. We are the most challenging challenge. But we are also the most dedicated challenge to help you. So if you decide for the Nature 2.0 track, you will get help from the moment you become a team in your preparation towards the hackathon, during the hackathon, and after the hackathon. So we can continue the questions, and at least in the last 15 minutes I want to introduce the team so that you get a feeling, okay, who are all those people? And some of the team is still staying upstairs. Yeah, they are coming.
And I'm going to trade you this microphone that doesn't have to be thrown for this one that can be thrown.
Yeah, that's for the really bad questions. Then you throw.
You don't know if they're bad yet, though. That's why it's tricky.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back to questioning. I'm gonna start in the 2/3 back here, and I've totally lost any sense of fairness or order or justice. It's chaos. Tonight is the purge.
So, hello, my name is Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Well, we are coming from the telecom background, and we are playing with the idea of connecting humans to the AIs. So how can we give the AIs eyes and ears so that, for example, a human can call an AI? Is it possible to develop some kind of interface that every AI can use to immediately get this capability? So, defining the infrastructure and defining the interface for the AI, for example, on a marketplace where the other AIs can use to connect to the humans, and humans can just call them, or AIs can call humans, and maybe we can send an image, and then AI can articulate the founding of the image or video, or to the people that cannot use the technology in different way, but just call and talk to someone. So that could be, well, that's the idea that we are playing with.
It's an interesting building block, and it could be an essential building block. So what we're going to do together with IMBY and the technical guys of SingularityNet, we are going to host a technical deep dive on AI together with the community of 100,000 AI researchers to help all the teams that want to incorporate AI in their solutions. So we open it up not only for Nature 2.0, but all the teams that want to participate in a hackathon, or if you're just really, really passionate about AI, you should also come. What I like you to do is to connect after the hackathon so that we can talk a bit more if we can create a full Nature 2.0 narrative around it. But please write in your agenda March 21st, the Tech Deep Dive with SingularityNet.
I will. Thank you.
Perfect.
Can I also ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Yes. Yes, that's an abundance of mics. Yeah.
I gave her the mic.
Just a crazy idea. But currently, drinking water is a scarce product, but water on this planet is not. So how would you change that narrative?
Yeah, well, the great thing is that there have been a lot of physical concepts around that already. I don't know the name of the movie, I can look it up, but I know there's a documentary on Netflix where people already created machines to take water out of the air. And if you start researching for that, and I know Aga can help you then with that, then you will see there are a lot of different solutions. If you talk to Arash, he also has a solution where it's water and energy that is used to create ice in the desert. So using the abundance of energy to create ice solutions. So as soon as you are really passionate about that, there will be a lot of crazy narratives that you can start researching from the moment now till February 25th, where you have to have a narrative that you offer as challenge. And as soon as you become a team, then one of the 10 teams in Nature 2.0, we will start the journey together of your preparation February 25th until April 11th. And you have a whole team helping you with your research, helping you with your numbers to get this thing done. But creating a solution for water could be one of the most important challenges for the Earth. So this is a very viable one.
There's a number of solutions from...
You need a mic for...
There's a whole number of biomimetic solutions of how organisms are capturing moist from either air or the soil or whatever.
Yeah.
So that could help you with the narrative. And there's also some people we know that are working on making drinkable rivers again. So how to take out all the pollution. So that could be another form. Instead of having GDP, we would have drinkable rivers as a measure of how well we are doing as a society. Yeah. So there's people we can hook you up with if you're interested.
Yeah. So here out, if you're passionate about water, within a week you could be in a completely different world where you see all those different water solutions, and you have the burden of choosing, okay, what are we going to do during the hackathon? So it's not the problem, okay, how can we build it, but I have an abundance of solutions.
I also want to say, in addition to what you mentioned, somehow whenever I ride my bike, my pants are always wet afterwards, so there's some sort of water generation going on. I feel like over here there was a thing, but now I'm done worrying about it. So there you go, and then you. 1, 2. Order.
Yeah, no, I was thinking earlier from the first presentation about how eventually system goes back to universal basic income to cover needs. But what if the need itself is an autonomous governing system? And then you think about housing, how, and this applies to a bunch of other conversations here. What if the housing itself is self-owning? And I mean, I pay rent. My house is 100 years old because it says 1914 right above the door. And I think that house has not been changed since then. And I have a landlord, which is shit. So, so the thought is I'm paying rent, I'm paying a really high rent. This rent increases every year because somehow just the house, by standing there, it increases in value, because even though nothing happens to it.
Well, you're there. You're there.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna move out. I don't think the house will reduce in value after that. But no, the thought is, well, if this house is self-owning, then whoever lives in it pays money to the house. The house uses that money to reinvest in itself. You know, if there's an issue, it gets fixed. You don't have to rely on a landlord to get your sink fixed. And at the same time, this money, once it reaches a surplus, for example, it may pay its own mortgage back to the government, for example, or even reinvest into new housing complexes. There's a huge amount of lack of housing, especially affordable housing, at least in Utrecht, where I'm from. I imagine Amsterdam as well. So yeah, that was just a thought, especially it sparks from a bunch of the conversations going on here. Where do you find funding to implement new ideas into housing? Well, if the housing itself is self-owned and has the money.
But I feel like self-owning houses is exactly what you're talking about. And again, it fits into a greater ecosystem of like a self-owning house that has a smart, blockchain contract with a self-owning energy grid.
Yeah.
And they're delivering energy
and pays it to self-owning urban vegetation and whatever, and like makes the whole environment better.
And if I can bring it back to the beginning, they're all built with recycled plastic logos from the drones.
Maybe. Yeah, you can even go into the DAO idea of the community itself makes the decisions in the end of the day, and which you don't have right now. The government says we need housing here. There's a big contractor builds the houses. Doesn't really consider the needs of the people that actually need to live there. But if you have a DAO that governs this whole thing, then maybe that's a
Those
I won't be pursuing that, but maybe someone, I don't know.
Yeah, those are definitely the thinking lines. And then the challenge is, can we make it more crazy? And then you come in a kind of Harry Potter world where you do like this, and the house exists. Then it would be great if there's no discussion about money. So the money prevents the magic. And this is when you when you start bouncing off ideas. And so this is already crazy, but can you make it more crazy? Because the Lego blocks from the first question were there for free.
Yeah.
The machines that can build a house were designed by Greg's last hackathon, and their code is already open source. So you can use those open source code and then start elements with that.
Yeah.
I think we're in agreement. That's a good idea. We'll bring it.
So,
we'll bring it.
To spin the mind a little bit more about imaginable and I think unbuildable is one thing that I have a scarcity of. We live in a Western world, so we have everything already in abundance and stuff like that. But can we make time abundant? Because I have a scarcity on time.
Well, the nice thing, and you then watch out. Imagine you have an hour of rest, all for yourself. This means for all the startups of the world that they are missing out of an hour of sales opportunity. All the startups of the world are in the current phase thinking about how can I break this hour of silence, because then I can sell my product. Can I make you weary? Can I get your mind to connect unconsciously? Because I want to break that hour of silence. This is the behavior we reward in the world of today. So what we are doing without framing it like this is by creating non-economical ecosystems, we free up the time that would be stolen from the commercial parties. The second thing we do is you have intrinsic motivation, the things you're really passionate about, and extrinsic motivation, the things we like, because we can explain our children that they have to go to school, although they don't like it, so that they have to get a job that they don't like, but they can pay for their mortgage. So in this old world, you have to do a lot of things that cost time that you really don't like. What we want to think you about are systems that are purely intrinsically motivated. So you get back the time that counts. If somebody forces you in a lock-in, you have to decide, and we both work in the energy industry, who really likes to decide what energy company to buy energy from? What kind of contract? For how many years? What kind of wind? Those are all questions that are forced upon the entities who want or need to make money out of us. What if energy is just always there and you can forget about it, like the oxygen? Wouldn't that give you back a lot of time? So without stating it, what we are doing is giving the only resource that is scarce for humans back to the people. And as soon as we solve the problem of longevity, that's where we co-create with the pension funds. Because if we now get 50 years older and healthy, like we already do with mice, it's not totally magic, but for mice we can do it already now. They would say, yeah, this cannot be. People cannot get 50 years older. But we are preparing society so that if you like the life you're living, it is okay. Our system can handle it. That's why it's so important to work on these crazy narratives.